from the College by the Lake, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho. Local, regional, national, and international guests discussing the issues and topics affecting the way you live are on Forum, the North Idaho College Public Forum, with your host and moderator, political scientist Tony Stewart.
Today's program is about the works of two authors, Susan Nilp and Pamela Beal. They have put together a very special children's series entitled We Sing, and that's W-E-E. Susan Nilp is from Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, and her partner, Pamela Beal, is from Portland, Oregon. And we're so proud today to have on our program Susan Nilp to talk about what you've done with this very special series that you started some years ago, and I will introduce to our audience the fact that it involves audio tapes and videotapes and special books in which music is being used to educate young children about all aspects of life. And we congratulate you. I know your work is extremely successful, and on behalf of the panel and staff, Susan, welcome to our program.
Thank you.
I thought the best way to introduce your special work to our audience is to show some excerpts from the series, and we're going to start today, first of all, with one of the audio tapes that we have concerning dinosaurs, and I will ask our control room at this time to play that audio tape, and we'll be back to our guest.
The first dinosaurs appeared about 225 million years ago. This was many millions of years before people lived on Earth.
Counting to 100 is simple. Counting to 1,000 is easy. Counting to 1 million is workable. But counting to 100 million crazy.
To think the dinosaurs lived here that many years ago, my brain can't even comprehend the date. I know it's true the bones are proof, but still it fogs my mind. Perhaps it's just that I was born a little bit too late.
Counting to 100 is simple. Counting to 1,000 is easy. Counting to 1 million is workable. But counting to 100 million crazy.
Well, Susan, that was absolutely wonderful, and I want our audience to know that we only took a small sample of many of the audio tapes that you have, and we appreciate you letting us use those. In a moment, we're going to go to the videotapes, and I want to show our audience a couple of those. I have with me here one called We Sing, presents the We Sing Train, and That's not the particular one I think we're using. I'm just giving some samples here. A second video that we have is entitled We Sing in Sillyville, and I know when I viewed that it was really, really great, and so I wanted to show a couple of those. And while we're waiting for them to prepare our video, I also wanted to show one of your booklets. This one's called We Sing Around the World, and this comes along with your tapes, I know. And again, we thought it would be very helpful if we showed some from your videotapes. And we were sent 8, and we've just taken some samples. Again, we would use the whole program just to get a little bit of what you've done. But at this time, I'm going to ask, again, the control room to play the video that we have brought here today.
To the world of We Sing. Come sing and dance along with its series of musical videos, beginning with We Sing Together. Join Sally and her brother as their special friends take them on a birthday adventure they'll never forget.
Where are we?
Oh, the sign's right up there.
We Sing Park.
I officially welcome all of you to the We Sing Finger Band.
Sing and dance along with your favorite songs.
There was a boy who had a dog, and Bingo was his name. Oh,
Now I know my ABCs.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O.
Here we go, Looby-Loo. Here we go, Looby-Lie.
The eensy-weensy spider went up the water spout.
For the sky.
So come join the party with We Sing Together. But that's not all. There's still lots more singing and dancing fun at King Cole's party. And you're invited. Watch your favorite nursery rhyme characters come to life as
Mary had a little
Jack and Jill,
little lamb, little
Mary
lamb,
and her lamb,
had a little
and Little Boy Blue make their way to King Cole's castle for the party of their lives.
I nearly forgot the cake. Pot a cake, baker's man.
porridge hot, peas porridge in the pot 9 days old.
Meet the 6 little ducks.
With a feather on his back, he led the others with a quack, quack, quack.
This old man,
He played too, he played knick-knack on my shoe. Humpty Dumpty sat on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great ball.
so don't miss King Cole's party. But that's not all. The fun continues with Grandpa's Magical Toys. Come play along with Peter and his friends David and Sarah on their visit to Grandpa's.
May I show them your toys, Grandpa?
Of course, enjoy yourself.
Wow, look at this room. It's full of the neatest things. I've been looking
They
at 'em for
discover
years.
that no matter how old you are, being young at heart can have magical results.
Hi, Peter!
Sing and dance along to some of your favorite songs.
A sailor went to sea, you know the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man, the Muffin Man.
I love coffee, I love tea. I want Peter to come in with me.
The farmer in the dell, the farmer in the dell.
Do the hokey pokey and you turn yourself around. They are playing it, so I am playing me. And sing the follies free.
God, look!
I'm Silly Wim and you're Lori and Scott.
But why did you want us here?
Well, no one seems to be getting along anymore.
Come hear your favorite silly songs and help Silly Wim reunite her friends, the Spurtle Gurgles, the Jingleheimers,
Jingleheimer Schmidt, that's my name too.
the Bitty Booties,
Bandacity, nickety, nackety, retro quality, wallaby, now, 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 now.
They're
the roly-polies.
Little one said, roll over, roll over. So they all rolled over and one fell out. There were
Make new friends, but keep the old. One is silver and the other gold. Make new
So come make new.
Well, I know that we all very much enjoyed that. For you who just joined our program, our co-creators, Susan Nilp and Pamela Beal, did this exciting series. And we just took some excerpts from what we call We Sing, and I welcome our panel to question our guests. First of all, Janelle Burke, who's an attorney in the state of Idaho, and next to her, Steve Shink, who is the Dean of College Relations and Development at North Idaho College, and we will ask Janelle to commence the questioning of our guest about We Sing.
Well, Susan, this is very special to have you here on our show today and to talk about We Sing. Would you take us back in time to how did you decide to do this? And I know that you and Pamela were friends from long ago.
Way back. I know. I'm looking at that work and I'm thinking, you know, that really is kind of fun. You know, sometimes you get so involved in your work. Like this morning, I was on a 5-hour marathon phone call working on the next script. And you get kind of muddled down in your work, and we're going, is this fun? And then I look at that, and I'm laughing at the different characters and the stories that go with certain ones that you had to retake that line, and this didn't work, and that character was so funny. And so that was really a nice little remembrance for me to say, this is fun. We're having a good time. We go back. Pam and I actually met in graduate school when we were at Portland State. We were both elementary music specialists, you know, the one that have to move from class to class and have 27,000 kids a day. And so taking some more graduate classes. And then we both quit teaching about the time we were having families. And so we had 2 children each and would get together and have our little babies crawl around the floor together and have fun. And then thought, we don't really want to give up our careers in music. What can we do to keep families first, still be able to stay in music and, you know, have a career? So at the same time, we were starting to sing little songs with our children. And for instance, the Eensy Weensy Spider. Now, do you know the last line to the Eensy Weensy Spider? Think back. And so, you know, you're doing that and you think, okay, now how did that really go? I don't quite remember. And then nobody else seemed to remember, and you try to find books. And there really was a lack of books of traditional music that was being passed on. And we thought if we who were ex-music teachers who didn't teach the very young, you know, we were teaching elementary, what's happening in our country? We're losing that tradition. And so thought, all right, let's remember all the favorite ones, kind of research, go in the library, find old books, find those songs that we want to, you know, keep going. So that's how the first book started. Again, basically for ourselves, and then we shared that and then started selling them.
And part of the charm is that a lot of the music that you use are those traditional songs. What was your very first one? Was it the nursery rhymes?
Actually, it's funny. The first one was just called We Sing, and a little subtitle was Children's Songs and Finger Plays. But then as we kept adding titles, We Sing and Play, We Sing Around the World, We Sing Silly Songs, then that first one became, they had to have a little subtitle. So now it's We Sing Children's Songs and Finger Plays.
But you have nursery rhymes, you have religious songs, you have campfire tunes. Tell us some of the others.
We Sing Silly Songs, We Sing America, We Sing Around the World. This is when I go, okay, now what are they all? We Sing Fun and Folk. There are 11 titles now, and all from all different parts, you know, of music.
And as you became more sophisticated, you began with the books, and the books included an audio tape. And now, of course, there are the videotapes, too, and they're a wonderful gift for children, grandparents, parents to use for a gift. I've done that often. And so you had an opportunity, though, to have your own children involved in this.
Well, we did, because our children were so small, and our first 4 books actually did not have audio tapes with them. We just were doing books and found, actually we self-published for 2 years. We formed We Publishing, W-E-E. And then had, for 2 years, went to bookstores and peddled our wares. We were actually doing, I remember going to the University of Alaska and teaching a summer school session and doing a lot with music. But then it became too much, and we wanted to write more because we were packaging books and doing bookkeeping, etc. So then we found a publisher, and luckily they liked what we had to offer. And so then after 2 years of just with that one book, then we wrote 3 more books and had our 4 books, and then started doing the audio tapes at the publisher's suggestion. Well, why not add the audio tapes to them? So that's when it came about. And then our children were old enough. I think Devin, who is now a senior in high school, was like 5 years old, I think, when we were starting him with doing those very young ones. So he had this wonderful, scratchy little voice, but we had to have them sing in tune, and we trained our children and worked with them. So ultimately, on our early tapes, we had our children, and Pam had her two, who are same age as my two, and then our illustrator had her children, and then our sound producer had his children. So that was our little choir, and then that was pretty encompassing. I mean, we had this little group that we could train and work with and had a great time. We'd always go to Burgerville for lunch, and and they'd go play in the park when they weren't singing, and it was really this wonderful little family. Good remembrances.
Steve Sheen.
Susan, so many people would love to do, maybe in different fields, but would love to do what you and your partner have done, and that's to find things that you're good at and turn them into a career. A dozen or so years ago when you started this project, was there no one else doing this kind of thing?
No. You'd go to the library and you'd find some books that were really those big expensive hardcover, and maybe people who are real detailed researchers, and you'd find some of that. But if you wanted to take it home and use it, just with your family, maybe you'd find just a few things that you kind of remembered, and there wasn't really the handy-dandy booklet that you could really use. And so no, there really wasn't. We were really pioneering in that field, and then to add the audio tape. And in fact, bookstores, we actually started 17 years ago, and a lot of bookstores wouldn't even carry audio tapes. So in some stores, we were actually the first book and tape that they had ever carried. But because it was really a needed item, then people were willing to risk and say, okay, we're a bookstore, but it's okay to have this audio that goes with it. So we really started a trend, which of course now there's a lot out there.
So you truly found a niche in the marketplace that wasn't filled at the time. In all those years, as you've developed and expanded, has there been, and obviously there seems to be an educational and a musical theme that follows everything you do, has there been a philosophy that you have sort of followed that guides you in these new projects?
Absolutely. Number one is that it has to be innocent, wholesome, wonderful for children. People give us these ideas. Oh, I have this great, we sing adult songs. No, that's not what we do. And even, we've had flack. We've been called, they're too wholesome, they're too whatever, and we're going, great, we love it. I mean, that's what we want to present to children. There's too much out there that is not good for children. My kids have even told their friends, well, my mom never even let me see Bambi because, till I was 8 years old, because the mother dies at the beginning in a fire. That I don't think is appropriate for young children, and of course, you can have big debates about that. So it's innocent, it's wholesome. It really started out as traditional music, which was being lost. We started writing some of our own music when we did We Sing for Christmas, because we wanted to have the whole gamut. We had our religious section, but then we had some Santa Claus section. But you think of Santa Claus, the whole idea of Santa Claus really started in the mid-1800s, and then songs weren't really written about Santa Claus till the 1900s. Well, we do everything PD, which means public domain, which is now before 1915. So we couldn't find songs except for a very few. So then we started writing some of our own music, and then, as you saw with the dinosaur book, do you know any PD dinosaur songs? No. So then we wrote an entire book of original music, which was really great fun.
In relation to all that, as I was watching, preparing for this program some days ago, some of your videos and audios, I just think that it's in the same classification as Walt Disney Productions. That's a
thanks.
real
That's
compliment
lovely.
to you. But it has that kind of characteristic both in color and variety, and certainly your props and all are just excellent. But from all of this really hard work, and I know it's really paying off for you because it's really in demand around the country, I want to get you to address another component that I certainly saw in that last week when I was looking at it, is I think you're teaching with the videos in particular the diversity in our society and children of many, many backgrounds. In fact, you and I were talking a little before the program. I want to congratulate you for your own way of contributing to an understanding among the human race. Would you tell us what you've tried to do in that area?
I think coming from North Idaho, living here and my children being raised here, I feel they have been a little bit deprived because of our lack of cultural diversity, which I think is so beautiful and so wonderful. And so it's like I want to share with young children how beautiful that diversity is. And so we work really hard to have as diverse a group of actors that we can. We film out of Portland. Our productions are out of Portland, which is kind of, yay, we want to stay in the Northwest, and you know, our publisher says, well, think about LA. We have a lot of, you know, ability down there, but we love having it in the Northwest. But also in the Northwest, there's not the diversity that there is in, say, LA or New York. So we work hard at it, and sometimes don't have quite the diversity that we want. But it is very, very important to us. And as you and I were talking, for young children to feel the comfort of not only in nationalities, but even in thought processes, in beliefs in different concepts, but that we are such a beautiful group together. And as you saw, part of that Sillyville, that story was about the yellow Sprittle girls who did not get along with the green Jingleheimers, who did not get along with Purple Pasha. And the reason, well, I don't know, one day we just didn't want to be together. And sometimes I think that's our reasoning. Why don't we get along? Well, I'm not really sure. And so in the end of that show, they are all gathered around Sillywim, who was without color because everybody was upset, and gathering to help her. She had hurt her ankle. And they're all gathered around with the purple and the green and the red and the yellow, and they'd look around and say, wow, we look great together. We're beautiful. And then her colors come back because that message has come through. We look great together. We need each other.
Well, I'd suggest you've been extremely effective. And secondly, that when you deal with this problem of lack of understanding, it's certainly important to note that it starts at a very young age in that teaching, so I congratulate you.
Thank you.
Janelle Berg.
I'd like to follow along with that, and music is really a universal language. Do you find that there are some songs that have been known from all the countries, and that there are common themes that run throughout?
There are, in our European kind of sense. So many of the songs that we have that we think are American are basically from some part of Europe.
Can you give us some examples of those? Can you think of any right offhand?
Well, Twinkle Twinkle Little Star is which is also A, B, C, D, E, F, G.
Yes.
And then you hear a folk song, for instance, from Finland that has that same tune, or maybe from England or from whatever, and then you hear it in different parts of our country with different words. The other day we were doing some research on something else, and I just found a song that said American something, and I called Pam and I said, Pam, this is the same tune as our book from, our song from one of the Scandinavian countries that they said was definitely their song. And I'm saying, but it's over here and so that's what's wonderful. So much of that is transitional. But of course with the Oriental music, then the earlier music was the 5-tone scale, and then you get into the African music, which has, again, a different sound, or the 12-tone in different countries. So more of the European blend, there is that thread.
And the other question that I want to ask you is about how you put together your book. I love these books, and the fact that you can just pop the tape in the car, and then you can open up the book and read the words and follow along with the music. And they also have the chords for someone who just wants to play them at home on their chord organ or their little piano or whatever. Can you tell us how that works, and how you put all that together?
That is wonderful. Coming from a fellow musician who saw right through all that. Actually, a lot of thought went into Size and Style. You think, oh, they just make a book and here it is. We really worked hard at what was handy-dandy to take in your car, stick under the car seat. What would be real simple for children to get a vision of music but not get inundated. Again, you get those big library books with all the, the full score, etc. So we just did the simple little single line with the chords in case somebody wanted to strum along with guitar or play piano chords. Wanted just little bits of illustration to kind of enhance it. And then we worked really hard at what key it should be in. But I've seen some that have it, way up in this high range that nobody on this earth would be singing it up there, but they have it in this music and you're supposed to read it. So a lot of thought into what really works for you and I, or the non-musician, or what feels real comfortable. And the same with the tapes. What can you sing along with? What's fun for kids? We do a lot of children, as you heard, children's voices so children can sing with children in their range, but then pop in some adult sounds just to have a different range and different hearing. So you're good, Janelle, you saw right through all that. A lot of thought went into all that.
And also your illustrations. Can you talk a little bit about your illustrations?
Our illustrator actually was a sorority sister of Pam. And when we were starting out, we were not thinking 17 years down the road, we were thinking, we have this little book, we need it illustrated. Pam says, well, my friend Nancy, she's done some work, and she had worked in Australia. And so we wanted very simple line drawings, again, that the kids could just look at and have fun. These are not picture books, they're not story books, they're just enhancements of our music. So again, starting out simply, and then as we've grown, still this is a good formula. It's worked, and we've really stayed in this format.
That shows some of the illustrations. They're just really cute, and they're fun, and there's a little direction too on some of the songs as to how you can do activities with them.
Absolutely. Every book again is different, and in fact the one you're holding up is We Sing Around the World. That book, up in the corner you can see there's a flag that we want to do them on color, but of course that was a little expensive. So every corner has the flag of the country, so you get least used to the shading and the look. And then at the bottom it tells a little bit about each country. And the same in the dinosaur book. There are a lot of informational things about the different dinosaurs. For instance, We Sing and Play, that has, and We Sing, just plain We Sing, have a lot of how to play this game, how you hold your hands, how you do your finger plays. So every book, again, has some purpose in some of the wording.
Steve Sheen.
Susan, as I understand it, the progression has been from books to audio tapes to video. Is there now a medium of choice? Is the glamour of the video business really captivated you, or do you still work in all three?
Oh, it's all still there. We just killed ourselves. We just finished, in fact, We Sing and Play. We Sing Around the World. That has just come out. And I said I was working on a video, and so that is still happening. And we're working on another book and tape at the same time. And then, of course, looking at the medium of television, is that where we want to be, and should we be addressing that? So it's all still out there, still percolating.
And is there, now in terms of marketing, are you focused on the Western United States, on the United States? Is this an international effort?
It's international. It's well known on this continent, and with mostly, of course, in the United States, a lot in Canada. But somebody said they saw it in a bookstore in France the other day, and somebody, a friend saw it in Thailand, and I said, oh, I wasn't really aware, because I'm not in the marketing part, but it really has become global, and we have always wanted it to be used as a teaching tool, and we've gotten letters, I think specifically of one from Sweden and one from Germany, where they're teaching their children English through our traditional folk music, because it's very simple to repeat those words and to learn English. Frère Jacques, that's your bit of French. And so it's the same way with our folk songs.
I'm going to interrupt because we're almost out of time, but I know we have viewers out there that will be upset with me if we don't tell them how they can get in touch with you concerning this. And I know that goes to your publisher. And I will tell our viewers that the publisher is Price Stern Sloan. They're in Los Angeles, California, and they've just put up on the screen the good news is it's an 800 toll-free number, 1-800-788-6262. On that note, Susan, we're going to bring our permanent conclusion. You've been so cooperative as we put this program together, and we congratulate you and Pamela Beal again for what you're doing in producing such delightful messages to children around the United States. Again, thank you for being with us.
It's been a pleasure.
Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you'll join us again next week when we will discuss yet another subject. Until then, please have a good week. I am Tony Stewart.
The North Idaho College Public Forum was videotaped live from the studios of Instructional Technology on the campus of North Idaho College for viewing at this more appropriate time. We invite you to join us again next week for another all-new edition of the North Idaho College Public Forum on this public television station.